famous the words of the Gemara in the Mishnah in the Masechta Soita and the Gemara Masechta Sanhedrin. Tanya Rabbi Yehuda says, "Dar Shem David bought the dar for which David is going to come. Son of David is going to come. Boy Beis Havad, the place where the Milchama get together. Yilos Nus is going to be a Makam Parts Nus. V'Haglil, the place Glil, Yechrav, going to be destroyed. V'Hagavlon, the place Gavlon, Ye'esham, means Yishtoimim. It's going to be wondered, I guess, the extent of its destruction is going to be wondrous. V'Anshe Gvil, these places, the Glil and the Gavlon, I guess, are places in Israel will be total destruction. V'Anshe Gvil, so Rashi says either it means the Sanhedrin or it means, the first Rashi says it means the people that are on the Gvil of Eretz Yisrael. I guess the people that watch Eretz Yisrael, Yisayvim me'il, they're going to be going from city to city. No one's going to have rachmanas on them. The Chachmas HaSeifrim, and the Chachma from the learners, Tisrach is going to stink. V'yira Achet, and the people that are scared or afraid of Chet, Yimasi, are going to be disgusted. Pnei Adar, in the face of the generation, Pnei Akal will be the face of the dog. For Emes Adaris, there's not going to be any truth. And V'sar Merah Mishtoil, and someone that tries to go away from bad is going to be laughed at. The Gemara says, Kol Mishasar Merah, anyone that goes away from bad, Mishtoil Al Brius is going to be laughed at from the Brius, and laugh at it. And there's a famous Raya Mehemnad that speaks about this, is Marach on this. Okay, these are famous things. How terrible the nation, the status of the generation is going to be when the generation of Mashiach, when Mashiach comes. And many of them pointed to this and said this all happened, and it's something that people is still pointed out constantly. What I want to shtel zechan, my anakuda is this famous Vatlach, which is said over from the Rizhne and others about how hard the Emunah is going to be in the generation of Mashiach comes. It's going to be very, very hard. Different Amorim, which are said over, are very famous and repeated over and over again, still in our generation. And I just want to take a look at it, think about it a little bit. It's famous. There's one place it's brought down in Sefer Knesset Yisrael from the Rizhne, Hashana Sholishois. We say Hashanah, we say, Hashem, help me in those 3 hours. Hashanah. So it's brought down from the Rizhne that these 3 hours are the 3 hours before the Geula. It's going to be Kosha Ma'oid. Kosha Ma'oid Lahazak Atzma B'Yiddishkeit B'Yahadis. It'll be very hard to hold yourself Elach with Yiddishkeit. K'moisha Oimid, like the standing Kir Basel, a straight Chalaka, a straight wall, which is very, very straight. Lטפס and you have to go up, climb a straight wall. Leave tzipernayim without any nails. You're not like these climbers that stick into the wall and climb. No. It will be so hard to be a Yid. It will be so hard to keep halt sich bei Yiddishkeit, just like you're climbing up a straight wall without any help. That is the Hashana Sholishois, those 3 hours before the Gula comes. And obviously 3 hours is just a mashal for that period of maybe 3 generations, maybe 3 years, maybe 30 years, but it's a time of before the Gula is going to come, which we're going to have to hold ourselves strong as if there's a straight wall. That's how hard it's going to be Yid. Another place is brought down a story with the Rizhne that he was once walking with his Talmidim when he was already in Sadiger, and in the forest they went out to get some time, and they brought it with them, to eat out, and they brought themselves to the table and chair for the Rebbe should be able to sit down, And Rebbe sat down in the forest. It's windy, it's cool, and gets very vertracht. And he started talking to his chassid. It says all the names over here. Chassid Rebbe Hershelis. And he told him, of course, you remember the Gemara. The Gemara says, famous Gemara, that Bo Chavakik v'himidan an achas, that Tzaddik b'Emunah Yechia, that Chavakik came and it was maimed the whole Yehadis on one thing, on Emunah. One Yesod of to hold Yiddishkeit strong is to focus on Emunah. Famous Gemara. So he says, let's think. Look, there is he's sitting there by a table in the forest. Let's think. Who is Chavakik talking to that he made this Yesod of Yiddishkeit Emunah? He said, there's no question. He is skaven. He'll mechaven to the door before Mashiach comes. It's going to be a tremendous nisayon to be considered to stay strong and be a elach yid. And that's why he was mevasis, the vegestelt, that the yesod of Emunah for those people to stay strong. He says that before Mashiach comes, everyone's going to do whatever they want. And you'll still understand what I'm talking about. He says not only that a Baal Avera is not going to be embarrassed to do what's wrong, the worst of Averas, in front of kosher people, but he says the hard part is going to be that when the Elach is going to want to be Elach, he's going to have to look around. What's going on? Is anyone looking at me doing a mitzvah? Is anyone looking at me saying Kriya Shema? He doesn't want to be a chayzik. Anyone's looking at me davening in front of the Eibishter, he's going to have to look around in order to make sure he doesn't get embarrassed. And so that's why he's Chavakik stellt weg, this Yesod and Emunah, that he should hold himself strong with Emunah. He says that the Doris are going to be so shvach, they're not going to know the difference. We say, Boi da'ani lefanecha, Hashem Elokai. They're not going to know the difference between ani, me, and lefanecha. From you. You're not going to know the difference between, he's going to put on the talis and tefillin, he's going to know it's a good thing to put it on, but he's not going to really appreciate it. And what kind of davening is going to be already? But then he said, he put his head down and he thought for a little bit, and he said, we just know, someone that's going to hold himself strong with the basics, putting on tefillin talis, is going to be mamish, like Amen and me in this generation, the original in this generation is going to be that person that's going to stay Elach. That's how extremely hard it's going to be to Elach Yid, that if you can be able to hold yourself strong just to do the basics, you're showing Gaizain as every division all lanes. That's what the Rishon said. It goes into more detail, but that's the story over there. The Rishon seems to be expanding on what the Chazal just said before, that Chachmas Sefer Tisrach, Yireh Hashem Yimasu, that it's going to come a time that people are Elach Yidin are going to be disgusted and no one's going to have to do with them. This is actually what Chazal say, and he's just expanding on and giving you a picture, a better picture, a more look in the lens what actually is going to be. And this thing is repeated over. The other members from the original like this, and there's from the Nachman Bleslev and the Sichas Haran. It says that it's going to come a time Shapekarsis Godel Ala Olam is going to be a tremendous Hoylech Apekarsis Godel. It's a tremendous Apekarsis. And he said a bunch of times, he used to speak how big the Apekarsis is going to become. He says, well, whoever is going to hold himself strong in these times is going to be a Begreisa Greisa Chiddush. And he's saying, by me telling you that this is going to be, is not going to help you anything. It's not going to make people not Apekarsim. It's just going to help those that are struggling to keep themselves strong. And a lot of people are going to go off the derech, and the mamash is going to be Apekarsis Gedoyla. And those that stay strong with the Emunah, they're the ones that are going to be one to greet Mashiach. Basically, that's what he says. So these ideas are repeated to bring out how strong the seriousness of Emunah is in our generation. Thinking about this, I found this very, very mind-boggling. Very mind-boggling. But just to illustrate this, I will repeat what I once saw in Hagdamat Sefer. There was once in Hagdamat Sefer, he brings down, there's called Kairos, when anyone looks in the Igris Kisvei, Chofetz Chaim used to write a lot of letters to Mechazik Yiddish Kinder in the Golos, very, very hard times in between the First and Second World War. And there was a lot of Chalal Shabbos. It was so widespread. They were Boil Nidis. They were everything was all the isms with the Haskalah and the Reform, and it was most of Klal Yisrael was not Shemit Mitzvahs. Say that in a nice way. It was really, really, really not good. And the Chofetz Chaim over there is trying to encourage the Yiddish Kinder to be. They should go to the mikveh. They should be Shemesh Shabbos. They should be Shemit Mitzvahs. He really goes through things that our hair would stand up. And the Sefer brings down, he's talking about the Sefer Nekus Vashich, he brings it down at the beginning. After he brings down this letter, he says, Achas and Makama, of course, in our generations keep on getting lower and lower. Of course, how much more is in the Geya, these words of the Chofetz Chaim. And I started, out of no option, I started laughing. Chasavada, there are people that are not Shem Shabbos, Tamchal Shabbos, and they're not Shem Tahara, nothing, mamish, don't care about anything. A few millions of people. Well, those people are all left over from the generations or before the war. Klal as a whole, as an institution, we'll call it, is very, very wide, a lot of wide spectrum. But as a whole, Klal is flourishing. Torah, mitzvahs, those that are, in every aspect of life, people struggle. Everyone has their nisayin, and they have to stand strong to it. But as a whole, the foundation of Klal Yisrael is strong. Chofetz Chaim would never write that to basic kahillas, what we call kahillas that have gedolim, and kahillas that are founded, kahillas that are vegestalt. Yes, he would go out and do kiruv, archim, sameach, and all the different organizations Baruch Hashem has, which they didn't have. But the side of Klal Yisrael is strong. Torah, mitzvahs, nas chasadim. Again, nothing's perfect. To bring this and say that, talk to the regular Kahil of Klal Yisrael and say, of course, in our times going to start getting, because the generation is getting worse and worse. It's laughable. It's laughable, and it's not only laughable with that. We're always constantly bringing things that were said in previous generations, which was full of all the avodas of the isms and all the different things. They were all destroyed. The Yisrael already explained that they were destroyed. And you don't have to be confident. These are obvious. We're struggling with different things. There's the sense of the internet. There's the sense of a lot of different things. But come on, that's not what's going on. As Klal Yisrael, for lack of a better term, as an institution. So these are one of the things that we're talking about. In our generation is hafla. We have hundreds of thousands of people that have become Baal Tshuvas. Taka since the 6 Day War, since the Kippur War. Tremendous. There are organizations today, Hidabrut reaches out every year to tens and tens of thousands of people. People that are struggling, people that never knew anything but Yiddishkeit come together in a stadium, thousands and thousands of people to hear Dvar Hashem. People are searching how many Baal Tshuvas there are in the last 50 years, and how many, I once heard from someone that's Isaac in a famous person, I can't recall his name now, but he's Isaac with Gerim and things like that. He said there's a backlog of 3 years of people that want to become Gerim. Fascinating. There was never a generation of people that are Isaac in Yonah Emunah like our generation. it's just, it's mugzam. So many organizations, so many people that are give chizuk and Emunah. It's fascinating, and how many people of the Nechomim are living with Emunah and stark from paycheck to paycheck, and give their lives away for Torah, and saying all walks of life, the foundation of Emunah is stronger than ever. It was never as strong as it is today. And yes, of course, there are always people that are struggling in every aspect of life. But to say that it's today like to climb a straight wall, today to say that we're climbing a straight wall is almost like saying Eretz Yisrael is charav and there's nothing in Eretz Yisrael. Even though most of Klal Yisrael, the main kibbutz of Klal Yisrael is in Eretz Yisrael. All the Torah is coming from Eretz Yisrael. And to say it's a gol yachrav, there's nothing going on in Eretz Yisrael. It's silly to say that today that the hundreds of thousands of people have came out shuvas, thousands of people have become gerim, and not to talk about the phenomenon of bnei Noahites, where thousands of people are starting to do Shemet Zayin mitzvahs bnei Noach. But in Klal Yisrael itself, such a strong movements of Emunah and B'tochen, people mamash mispal to see, mamash believe in Hashem and live with Hashem. To say over these members is actually not realizing the fact and what's going on. And these members were actually going on a real time. It's being mazazel on the nisyonis of what went on before the Second World War. You have to understand that there's a major Chofetz Chaim, which I think should be plastered all over. It needs to be explained also. But Chofetz Chaim is speaking about his generation. He says, how could people, in the Sefer it's priestly Yeshua, made to be Mechazek Yidden for the Gula, it says, with such a shvacha dar, so much trouble, so much bittul on mitzvahs, how could it be that the Mashiach isn't coming in our times? It's so hard for us to come in our times. It's like everyone's being mevatel in the mitzvahs. Like, what in the world? So he says, fakert. In our times, it's much more easier to be mitzvah for the Yeshua, to hope for the Yeshua. Why? Because in order to Mashiach to come, you need to do tshuva. He says, in our generation, there are two cultures, two classes. He says there are those that are holding strong by Emunah and the Eibishter, and there are those that don't care about the Torah. And he says that there are so many apokrasim. There are so many people that are making fun, and Sfarim that are making fun of Yiddishkeit. And he says, in order to stay Elach Yid, it comes so hard. People give away their clothes on the shoulders in order to pay for their children's chinuch. And and to stand up just to be El Chiyid is not so simple. It's like Klura, he doesn't say the term, but it was like climbing a straight wall. And he says something fascinating. He says, Talmid Chachamim, those few, very little amount of Bnei Torah that were in yeshivas, they're being laughed at. They're making most of the people are making chayzik of them. But what? They're standing strong. There are people that are working, Bachrim, he says, that are working, and they're holding themselves strong. He says, isn't this a tshuva to Hashem with the ganze heart, the whole heart and the whole soul? Ki avodas Hashem, avodah shlema. The avodah Hashem is avodah shlema. No one's looking at them. No, they're not doing it for covet. They're not doing it for anything. They're only doing it for Hashem. They're very poor. You look at the videos of Sapatka. They were very emaciated, the Talmidim. They didn't have money. They didn't have nothing. They were being. Everyone was making fun of them, and they're holding themselves so strong. There's no question that on them, they are a reason for the Gula to come. It's easy to expect Mashiach to come. And why? Because it's considered as if they did Tshuva Shlema. He says, on them it said, V'shamata b'koiloi, he says, no question that on them was the Skayim, the Hashavois Alovecha doing Tshuva. He said that in our generation, he's talking about his generation, which is talking about that small cat achas that doing Tshuva, wasn't a sky in his generation. You're going to ask, oh, so why didn't Mashiach come? Yeah, it takes time. It means to say, but the tshuva Chavetz Chaim, it's written, look it up in the Tzpis L'Yeshia, he says that the Klal held themselves strong in his generation. There was those that held themselves strong. For them, is no question that when came the mitzvah from tshuva v'chalev, Mashiach to come. That's how hard it was to be a Yid. That's what all the bracha on our generation is getting stronger and stronger. And our generation is more proby to say what the Chayzer of Blin said over for Rebbe Zisha. The Chayzer of Blin in the Sefer Divrei Emes says that on the pasuk Kiseitza L'chom Alavecha, he says, "Shemati mir Zisha sheyichya." I heard from Zisha sheyichya. This Chazal say Al Yireh Chet Yemusu, that people that are scared of fear of Hashem are going to be disgusted. You know what it means? It means something else. It means a totally different thing. It doesn't mean simple. It doesn't mean like the revisionist says. It means something the opposite. They're going to be moise madrega yira ki ika avoida ho avdes mehava. When it comes in the times of Mashiach, before Mashiach is going to come, ikis Mashiach, Klal will be entrenched in Havas Hashem, in Emunah and Betachin, and we fire for their Bayin Shalom. They're going to be doing tshuva. They're going to be thousands of people. There's going to be people learning Yom V'Layla. There's going to be tzedakah v'chesed. They're going to be isik in Havas Hashem. That's what he said. Yirachet Yemusu. The madrega of Yirachet is going to be disgusting because they're going to be Isaac and Havas Hashem. A Havas Hashem is going to be what's important to them. That's what's going on in our generation. Maybe not like the Baal Shem Tov, maybe like the Vilna Gaon, maybe not like the Rambam, but still, that's what's going on in our generation. Yes, we went through it. Let's not make little of that. Those nisyonis which our parents and grandparents had before the war, and they stood strong. Let's be proud of them, and let's try to be zeicher to shel zich to the or which is getting stronger and stronger. The Eibush is giving us siyata the Shemaya. He opened up the Seidus HaBriya. Everyone looks wonders of the Briya, the cells, and the atoms, and everything. So much help to believe in Hashem. Yes, we don't get schar. We don't get credit. We of course we get schar, but Hashem gave us the opportunity to learn and to recognize His Yad Hashem with all the nisim. So just like Hashem made wars and was Mashiach Klal Yisrael, He showed His love to us. He brought us our covenant. So too, He is making that we too should come close to Him. We should love Him. We should return to Him. We should continue the avodah which the Yidden before the Milchama actually struggled for, and further it for all the Yidden of the whole and the ganze Klal Yisrael and the ganze Welt. That is what really we're now in the avodah from a position. That's the avodah we're all seeking.